First thing I'm going to go over today, order flow. How do we identify these trades? How do we get into some of these trades? What do I look for? What's one of the tools I use? Second thing I want to go over, it's going to take about 10 minutes, not going to take long. Second thing I want to go over is how to stay in a winning trade. Every single one of you in here, there's probably some people who are completely brand new, but every single one of you in here, I would say if you've been trading for more than 2 months, anything more than 2 months, you have probably at some point in time been in a trade that has absolutely ripped and you sold way too early, right? Way too early. It's one of those things where you really just have to ask yourself, was this conducive to my success? And then you sit there in the back of your head and you run through these things. Oh, well, I sold at 15%, but the last trade was a loss, so I was trying to make my money back. And you play this constant tug of war, right, with your losses and your wins. And it's all over the place. So I'm going to go over that on the back end as well. That's only, again, going to take about 10 minutes. This is going to be literally like 20 minutes, really fast, because I know your time's valuable and people's attention spans are short, including mine. So in the meantime, any questions you have, put them in the Zoom Q&A. If you're in the Circle group, if you're in Valor Trading Community, feel free to put it in the chat room for Valor. I'll have that up as well, just in case. But otherwise, put it in the Zoom Q&A. If you don't know where that is, at the very top of your Zoom screen, wherever you have this Zoom pulled up, there's a drop-down bar or window. It literally says Q&A. You type anything you want in there. It's private. I'm the only one that sees it. So there's no embarrassing question here. No such thing as a dumb question. Ask away. I don't mind. And I had someone ask me about this before. I have people in my community that run their own trading discords and their own trading communities. I do not mind if someone else is trying to become better themselves. Okay. So don't be shy. Even if you run your own trading community, don't be shy to ask a question. I'd rather you learn and you become a better trader so that way all the people with you are also winning as well. I would rather your trading crew catch a win than a loss. All right. So first things first with this order flow. All right. Let me put it in here too. All right. So with this order flow, guys, one of the things I love to use here is volume footprint combined with real volume and levels. Okay. What I'm going to do, it's going to be in another class. I might be able to squeeze it in at the end of this, but if not, I'm just going to do a whole other class on it. It's how I use order book level 2, time and sales. Just a nice basics. What do you want to look for? What do you want to see, etc. But I'm going to use our trade from Monday that I took as an example. Okay. This is the cleanest setup we've had all week. So this is what I want to use as an example. Okay. This right here that you see on the left, first off, these are all candles. We should be somewhat aware of that. Even if you're new, you should know this is a candle. That's what all this is a candle. Now I can look at candles one of two ways. I can look at candles like this, right? In the pre-market, these are both the same session. Okay. This is Monday. Look at the bottom if you need a timeline. This is Monday, January 12th, and the pre-market about an hour before the market opens. This is also Monday, January 12th, about an hour before the market opens. Okay. We're looking at the same thing here. However, one is just candles. One has numbers all over the place. James, what on earth are these numbers? Well, we have two things you're seeing here. You're seeing the sell side of the candle. Okay. The red. You're seeing the sell side on the volume side. Some people will call this tick volume, whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's volume. And the right is the buy side. Okay. Wherever you see white, and this is the time frame we're on both charts. We're on a 5-minute time frame. Okay. Wherever you see white, all right, it's going to be called point of control. Point of control. All right. I will type this out as we're going to, so that way you guys can see this. All right. White equals point of control. Some people call it POC. All right. That's what the white equals. Red equals selling pressure. That's what I want you to think about. And then green equals buying pressure. Okay. Little cheat sheet to keep there for now. When you're looking at this, the main thing I want you to be thinking about is essentially, that's not good. Essentially, in a way to paint a picture for the candle that you're on. Okay. So now that we see this, when we're looking at the white is the important part. Right now, I know you can't see the numbers, but just pay attention. Right now, the white, that's the important part. White within each 5-minute candle will signify where the highest volume was at that moment in time. All right. So if we have a massive amount of buying pressure coming in and a massive amount of selling pressure, it's going to find the two areas where that was the highest at that moment in time and show them on that particular candlestick. So you can see right here on this 5-minute candle, you have a lot of selling pressure on the left side, a lot of buying pressure on the right side. But at the point in which the volume was the highest was right here, 4.2 plus 2.29. That's going to equal roughly 6,400-ish in volume. Nowhere else is there higher than 6,400 volume. This spot's the closest. This spot is the closest. It had more selling pressure here, but not enough buying pressure. So that's why this has been chosen as the highest area. So you just want to keep that in mind because, again, that's going to paint a picture as to where was there the most activity. Okay, it's not about like as simple as like, oh, price is above my level, so we should keep moving up. No. If trading was that simple, there wouldn't be a 98% failure rate, just being completely honest, right? So now, as I'm watching this is how I'm developing my pre-market plan. So I'm walking you guys through my head as to how I caught this trade today. And if you're like, well, what's significant about this trade? Well, it's because this trade was absolutely massive. So no one else caught this. We're the only trading community that caught this big of a trade that day. Everyone else kind of sat in their hands. They didn't really know what to do with this because it was the rest of the day, someone would consider that somewhat choppy because it's going up aggressively, down aggressively, up aggressively, down aggressively. But obviously, if you got in down here, it really doesn't matter, does it? So what I'm seeing here is, hey, look, I have a bias on the day. My bias on the day is to the upside as long as we can stay above a certain level, 4-hour level, okay? So as long as we can stay above this like 714 range, I'm going to be pumped for upside moves. That's what I'm going to be focused on. I need some type of bias based on some type of level. It helps give me clear direction. I want you to think of having a bias on the day kind of as like a purpose. You have a purpose. For me, it's that morning open session, the first 20 minutes. I like to base my bias based off of 4-hour levels and volume. Where is that volume at? Because here's the thing. Let's say we were sitting below my 4-hour level nonstop. And let's say in the morning, all I saw, let's say the 4-hour level was right here. This was a 4-hour level and all the volume is sitting below it. Woo! Now I'm thinking in my head, okay, I'm biased for shorts as long as we stay below this level. That's what I'd be telling myself, right? So my bias would change based on where the volume is in correlation with my level. Now, as I'm watching this play out, James, how does all this mumbo jumbo help me? Well, first thing it tells me is cool. All the volume is right here. So seriously, as long as we stay above 621.72, all right, which that would translate on NQ to 25,722. As long as we stay above 25,722, I should be, excuse me, I should be extremely confident for longs, NQ longs, QQQ calls. For anyone that's new, they're the same thing. NQ futures for NQ and QQQ is for options. Okay. So as long as they're above this, I should be really confident in taking a long setup, especially if I see the appropriate volume come in. Now, someone might look at this and go, oh, first off, it's not pre-market high. If someone's going to tell me I took a pre-market high break, it's just not. But as I'm watching this play out, what I'm sitting here telling myself is, all right, we had extremely strong selling pressure overnight. You see this massive selling pressure coming through, strong bounce, hold of the key level. Now we're seeing a nice move to the upside. But what's giving me the confidence to take this entry and hold this entry? Because a lot of people would take this as a scalp. A lot of people would just take 20, 30 points, call it a day, especially with being a Monday. As I see this play out, the one thing I'm telling myself is, all right, two things I got to keep in mind. We're technically holding a 4-hour support level. So we should see realistically a move to the next 4-hour level. Realistically, where is the next 4-hour level? The next 4-hour level's all the way at 850. That's roughly 100 points profit. So my risk reward ratio here is huge because I normally use 15-point stop losses, 15% stop losses, i.e. if I go in with $100, I'm risking $15. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going for 100% profit and holding the whole position. Obviously, I'm scaling out on the way up, but still, tight stop loss, big reward. Now, what would give me the confidence to hold this trade? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this volume perspective here. As you guys are looking at this setup right here, I'm going to bust this down now on a 1 minute so you can see what was happening here, okay? So I'm going to change this one to a 1 minute. Of course, it went all the way back to Wednesday. Tuesday. All right. I might have to hold on a second. Hold on. Is it not going to show us? That's such a shame. All right. Well, I'm going to be going off of memory here, but that day, you can look at my YouTube too. It's on the YouTube for this live trade recording. That day down here, there was an insurmountable amount of buying pressure. You can still see right here, there's obviously a bunch. There's obviously a lot on this Monday, but down here, there was, I believe it was 140,000 on the buy side on the first 1 minute candle, 140,000 on the buy side. So picture seeing this one sell say 140,000, okay, because we would have broken it down in 1 minute. And a lot of that volume was in that first 1 minute candle push. Okay, so that's where that's coming from. Now, regardless, looking at the 5 minute, what are you seeing here on the bottom, which is where the breakout level was? Okay, the breakout level was right here. So what are you seeing on the bottom that's giving you that confirmation for these calls, right? Oh, sorry, there's a lot of Q&A already. What are you seeing that's giving you this confirmation for calls? All this buying pressure right here, all this buying pressure. Now, I will preface this with volume footprint. It's not like a cheat code. It's not going to look like this every day. This was just a really clean day. Okay. I'm letting you know right now, it's not going to look like that every single time. You're going to be like, holy crap, there's all the volume. Let me get in for calls. This is easy. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. You have to use this in conjunction with order book level 2 and time and sales. And it really clears the picture up at that point. This helps more than nothing. People that trade with just candlesticks alone, I personally don't understand how they actually trade well. I don't really get it because I don't know how I would possibly trade if I couldn't read the volume properly. But this is how I'm able to have that 93% win rate because it helps you for the most part, i.e. 93%, not 100. For the most part, it helps you identify where are the buyers coming in, where are the sellers coming in, who's overtaking who, what key areas actually hold the volume. That's what's important, right? Because we think this is a key level because I'm sitting in my little house in my little office drawing a line and I'm like, the US stock market has to respect this level because I drew a line there. No, the only way for me to determine if that's a real level is by basically back testing in real time the levels like this, seeing if they hold up in real time. So now as I'm watching this play out, I'm telling myself, all right, I clearly see all the buying pressure on my side based on this volume footprint chart. Okay. There's other things I'm seeing also on order book level 2 and time and sales again that are very, very important. But right now I'm focusing on teaching you this. So right what I'm seeing here in this moment in time is super aggressive orders hitting the ask on order book level 2, which would be on your broker, but also seeing extreme buying pressure on the volume side here on NQ, QQQ. And the beautiful part about all of this is it's on the market open reaction bouncing off of our key level. So we have 3 confirmations for this trade. We have hold above our 4-hour level. Check. Okay. Because that was our long bias for the day. We determined off the open, as long as we stay above that 4-hour level, I am biased to the upside. That's X. Check. Now, Y. I need this. I'm going over my X, Y, and Z for taking this trade. Now, Y. I have extremely strong volume. Why? Because I'm looking to take my entry more to the upside right around this level, 623. It's not like I'm taking it right here, right when the market opens. I'm taking it a little bit up here after I've seen this volume confirmation. Now, does that happen within basically 2 to 3 seconds? Yeah. But how else do you plan to catch this trade? You know what I mean? You can't sit there for 5 minutes. You don't have the luxury of that. If you're trying to get that high reward trade, you just don't have that luxury. Okay, the stock market does not reward people who are slow. That's just how it is. So as I'm looking at this, I've gotten my X staying above my long bias for the day, 4-hour level, basically right at the open. Also, volume is on my side. I see volume is below me. So this entire area, which is full of what? Full of what? What's the white? Point of control. The point of control in this area, all of that volume is below me. Check. Lines up with my level. So now I have my X. Now I have my Y because I have volume supporting me on the bottom side. If we do come back down, we should hold, i.e. And then to the upside, volume should keep pushing in our favor, meaning this trade should keep going. And then Z, the last thing I need is just telling myself what was my actual breakout level. Breakout level is 623. We're hitting it. Boom. Execute. You do not hesitate. If I see X, Y, and Z play out, I do not hesitate. I would say 98% of the time I will take that trade There is the very small percentage of times where I see something really scary and I completely back out. But majority of the time, if that's my game plan and that's what I was looking at and the volume is there, I take that trade. This is one of those things where if you hesitate for like 4 seconds, it's going to sound really like a joke to some of you, but truly 4 seconds can make the largest difference on some of these trades. 4 seconds can be the difference between you getting filled all the way up here. We're already trimming and we're 50% in profit and you just got filled, right? Or 50 points in profit and you just got filled. Trade pulls back 20 points, you get stopped out. We're like, oh, it's okay, it's holding. And then it just takes off for 200. And you're like, what? And the whole day you're chasing, trying to just get back in the trade. When it just came back to hesitation, right? You have a big saying in the Marine Corps, hesitation kills. And I really think it applies to day trading as well. All right. Now, James, how would you know to stay in this trade? Because that first candle is very over. Well, first off, any questions before I get into that? Any questions on the volume footprint? Can I explain the checklist where you see all the volume below and why is that good? Yeah. So basically, if I see, again, all the whites, I know you can't see the numbers, but we know the white is the point of control for each candle. So now we can see, I'll draw this out right here. Or no, it's right here, I think. So now I can see in this morning session, that's my point of control zone, right? I can see that as of now. So now I should be telling myself, all right, market open game plan is a breakout of 25, 755 or 755 or a breakout of 623. That's my game plan, right? Or whatever, right here, 622.70. That's my game plan. So if that's my game plan, I should be telling myself, as long as we stay above this point of control, I love this move to the upside. If this trade, let's say this trade went up 10 points and then completely dumped, why would I not be upset? Because that's just proving to me that this point of control is a real zone. And now I can just tell myself, all right, I'll look for a break and retest of this because this is clearly a key area. We rejected there extremely hard. I can just use that for the opposite direction when it comes back on the retest. I'm not chasing both directions. Now that it's confirmed this is a reject because it dumped, cool. Let's watch for it to pull back. We can get that retest to get into shorts, right? Either way, the volume will be on your side, whether you get stopped out or not, because now you've confirmed that's a key area. Because the only way it would reject is if there was a lot of volume opposing you in that direction, right? So, but basically, I want you to think about the white as you want that behind you, okay? I want the point of control behind me. So if I'm trying to take a breakout for calls and all of these previous candles, like you're seeing here, all these previous candles, meaning behind me, like in the past, they were previous candles that have already closed and happened. That's how you know where the point of control is, because the candle's closed. These are all now below my entry where I'm trying to go long. That's good because let's just say the trade starts to retrace a little bit. Even if it does retrace, we should see somewhat of a respect of this level. We should see this respected somewhat because that's the whole reason the trade started to take off in the first place. All right. How would you use volume? How would you use volume to determine if you want to keep holding the trade? This is a realistic question, right? All of us can go look at this trade after the fact and go, yeah, no duh, you would have held this. But again, that's why I'm using this as an example, because I took this trade in real time. I was in this trade myself. It's posted on YouTube. So you know I was actually in this trade and I actually held this trade. So how would I have held this trade? What was making me want to stay in this trade, even with these pretty big pullbacks? I mean, no one's going to refute that those are pretty large pullbacks, guys. Like, again, I agree with the sentiment of all the other trading groups that kind of got wrecked this day, or they took big losses because they were just trying to chase this. Because every time they got confirmation, they got stopped out. All these trading groups out there, every day, every day. This day, people were taking 2 to 3 big losses left and right. These are guys that have been trading for 8+ years. You know, they were trading when I was in the Marine Corps. The reason they were getting wrecked on a day like this, because look at those candles, look at those wicks. Those are not friendly. Those are not friendly at all. But again, just goes to show, if you knew how to read volume properly, this right here would be a dead giveaway to get into that trade. This volume you were reading right here would have been a dead giveaway to get in. Get in. It's just screaming at you to enter for calls. To me, this was extremely I don't want to use the word obvious because that's insulting to traders, but I would say it was the risk to reward ratio was screaming at me. It was telling me we want to move. The market wants to push up a lot. So I'm sitting here going, why would I want to wait? What more confirmation do I need? So, all right, important part. How do we stay in this trade? Well, one thing we want to identify, again, point of control. I'm going to draw this point of control out here again. All right, this little zone right here. Okay, we can identify that is where the majority of this volume is, right? We can identify that within this candle. The majority of the volume is going to be up here. So as I'm watching this little area right here, what do you see in a second? What do you see? Well, not in a second, but 3 5-minute candles later. Perfect retest, a perfect break and retest. Very nice, right? This was also something when you translate it to over here. This was something on the live. I told everybody, I said, obviously there's a possibility for a pullback because this candle's overextended. Yes. But I said, this is one of those few candles where I would not be surprised on the 5-minute close because we had a strong 5-minute candle close above my 4-hour key level. I said, I would not be surprised if this just kept going. And I told everybody, I said, this can be a really big day. I would not be surprised if this just kept going. And that's exactly what this thing did. This puppy came back, retested where? Point of control, held the volume, kept moving higher. At that moment in time, this retest right here of the point of control zone, that's after the fact, but the also combined with the 5-minute candle close above this 4-hour level is again telling me hold this trade, hold this trade. Because we've seen trades like this before at the market open, guys, right? We've seen trades where it moves aggressively and then completely rebounds. That happened today. NQ shorts today. Got into an NQ short position today, 70 points to the downside. What happened? Within 5 minutes, right back up, 100-point bounce, 100-point bounce. So we've seen that happen. However, the extremely strong 5-minute candle close above the 4-hour key level, combined with extremely high volume above this level, is telling us stay in the trade. I want the previous highest point of control is right here. As long as we stay above this point of control, I want to stay in this trade. That's the one thing I'm telling myself. I want to stay in this trade as long as we stay above this point of control. Now, your biggest problem just comes down to how do I want to trim on the way up? It's not like you have a set profit target like where I'm going to get out completely here. It's more so you have a soldier behind enemy lines that's causing a lot of damage, and you want to let him cause as much damage as possible. You don't want to pull him out too early. Let him cause as much damage as possible, right? So realistically, in a situation like this, you would just be trailing your stop loss to some degree that you feel comfortable with, because obviously you're not going to have your stop at entry with a large portion of your position while it's doing this. But now you can see how all of a sudden it becomes very realistic to hold this trade on the way up, right? I don't think anyone would disagree with that. If you were in the trade with me, you had some contracts left, you had this entire explanation fresh in your mind, you'd be like, man, I've seen this before. We've gone over this before. We're above that point of control. So heck, man, and this is at this point in time when it's kind of consolidating. Like right here, it was kind of consolidating, right? So now we can tell ourselves right here, look, all the volume is holding strong. Volume is holding strong. And you can see volume is holding above what? What do you guys see volume is holding above? Even though it kind of looks like a mess right here, where are majority of the point of controls, guys? Above the 4-hour zone. Above the 4-hour zone. Is it wicking below it? Totally. It's totally wicking below it. But the majority of these point of controls, not all of them, but the majority of them are above that 4-hour zone. Ding, 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 ding. We have a lot of volume above these 4-hour levels again. Maybe I should keep holding. Maybe I should keep holding. And that's what paints the picture again for holding this trade all day long. Again, people will say it's unrealistic. It's not like people tell me that, but I know people think that. People will think it's unrealistic to hold a trade like this all day. And I'm just here to tell you, again, with the technology you have nowadays, right? It's just a matter of setting an alert for your positions and walking away. You don't need to sit here all day. The whole point is, at this point, right? I use this as an example, 10 MNQ. Okay, let's say at 5 MNQ, we trimmed at 40 because it moved super fast. Obviously, we wanted to trim a little earlier. But at this point, you know, it's you sold 5 at 40, you sold 2 at 70, you sold 1 at 100. So it would have been 5 plus 2 is 7 plus 1 is 8. You'd have 2 contracts left. Boom, you can space these puppies out. You can tell yourself, all right, cool. At 150 points profit, I'll sell 1. Cool, I got 1 contract left. And now you can be like, all right, I shoot for 200 points profit, and I'll have my stop loss at 100 points of profit and kind of let your trade do its thing, right? So this is one of those things where it really just comes back down to good trade management and having a plan. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I appreciate every single one of you who came today. We had some really good attendance today, so it makes me feel a lot better about spending my time doing this. Again, I'm here to help. Feel free to shoot me a message. Anything, honestly, anything. But be realistic. I'll try to get back to you, but just be realistic with that. But guys, if you're interested in this at all, trust me, day trading is worth it. I can't imagine if I quit on this, because trust me, I wanted to, just like being a recon Marine when I was in the Marine Corps, I kind of wanted to quit every single day because of the difficulty, not because you don't want to do it, just because it's that hard. Same kind of thing when it came to day trading. I basically wanted to quit all the time. And I didn't have really people to talk to. I would join random Discords here and there, and I would type in the Discords like pretty much every day. Oh, I got wrecked today. What about you guys? Well, I got wrecked today. What about you guys? Oh my gosh, I got 20%. Yay. Oh, I lost my whole account today. What about you guys? That was really the only communication I had. I didn't really have people in person to talk to, or like a big community to talk to, like supportive people. Because, you know, Discords, people kind of rip you apart. So hold the line, stay strong. I know a lot of people are probably struggling with this, and that's totally okay. It's totally okay. I'm telling you right now, nothing worth having comes easy. Okay. Think about everything out there that you would like to have. It's probably hard to get. It's probably very, very hard to get, right? Being in shape, hard to get. That's not easy, right? Having a big family, that's hard to get, right? That takes a lot of work. Going through the baby phase and the diapers and the blow ups and all that stuff. Building a strong, healthy business, very hard to do. You're going to have haters. You're going to have people that just returns and the logistics and the organization and your time management. All of these things worth having. They are hard to achieve, but that's why the things that take a long time to build are the things that last a long time, right? And B, that's what turns you into that much better of a person. The pursuit of that is what makes you that much better of a person. So I want you to think, it doesn't have to be trading. It doesn't have to be trading. Anything you are shooting for that's difficult. Any of you guys that are struggling right now, trust me, I've been there. Probably people to your left and right have been there. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to people, discussing your struggles, going over what you need help with, and just remembering in the back of your head, why did you start down whatever path you're going down? Why did you start that? What do you have to look forward to? Okay. Think about the blessings that you have each and every day. You got a roof over your head. You have good food. You have warm food, the whole nine. We're all blessed in our own ways. We're all healthy. It's not like you have cancer or anything like that. Well, hopefully for most of you, you don't. So think about all the blessings you have on your side. Switch that mentality to becoming positive so it can work in your favor and you can start pushing forward, right? The 1% better every single day mentality. Trust me, it does leaps and bounds for you when you approach life with that mindset. All right. All right, guys. Thank you guys again for showing up. You guys have a wonderful night. Feel free, again, questions. If you wanted to give me some feedback on how I did, whatever, just let me know. But you guys have a wonderful time, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Peace out, everybody.